Welcome back to another episode on God's Principles for Healthy Relationships, Season 2. I am Martin Raj and this is my wife Debbie. We are going to be talking on another interesting and a very vital topic, and that is warning. Don't miss these red flags.
Red flags, something that sometimes is hard to pinpoint. And I know that for me personally, many times I ignore red flags because I hoped they would become green, and I kind of move forward in a lot of hopes of something better or just minimize it. So red flags are not always obvious, especially if we are already emotionally entangled with someone and hoping for something good, then it can be hard to process it. And the problem is that what we excuse early on many times is what we will have to endure later, long term. So we need to be very cautious, and that's why the title is Warning. Just open your eyes, don't ignore it, don't close it. Red flags are important, and we just want to go over that today. But there is a verse, 1 Corinthians 15:33, that says, "Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits." So God doesn't want us to be deceived. He doesn't want us to fall into deceptive relationships or patterns. And so that's why He gives so much counsel in the Bible for so many aspects in our lives. He wants us to be ready. He wants us to recognize the warnings. And even from the beginning, we see in Eden, God told Adam and Eve, warning, this is not good. Be careful. And they kind of listened to it, but then they were deceived. So it is important not to be deceived, to be aware of what are actually red flags.
And in this first set of points that we are going to share, it is the real red flags in relationships. But this is more about yourself. It is for you to evaluate, is this something that you are showing in the relationship? The first point is, you are willing to compromise on your core values to keep the relationship. How is that even possible? Or why is it a red flag? It is a red flag because you are compromising on something that God has placed in your heart, something that you have seen as a core value for yourself. But as soon as you see the other person and their lifestyle, their values are different, maybe it's even lower, you're willing to compromise on it. I was one of those at one point of time. I was willing to compromise on certain things, and it came to a point where, like, how many am I willing to compromise on? I was interested in this girl. Of course, I did not have a relationship with her, but I was interested in her. First, her way of dressing was different. It was not the values that I was holding. So I was like, okay, it's okay. I can be okay with compromising that. And then the music she was listening to, I was like, okay, I can compromise in that also. It's okay. And then the way she spoke and the attitude she had, I was like, okay, maybe I can compromise on those things. It's okay. I mean, in reality, we are interested in someone that is a human being. We are not. I'm not interested in an angel, so I cannot expect a perfect person. But then I started to see I had to compromise more and more and more and more. It's like, I don't want to be in a relationship with this person because I might have interest, I might have been attracted to her, but I have to compromise a lot of things that I hold dear to my heart. So, yes, if you are going to compromise on your core values, that is a red flag on your side. Number two is you make excuses for their dishonesty. You are going to be, you're also dishonest because you're trying to find excuse for the other person's dishonesty. You're trying to find a cover up, you try to justify, you try to find excuses basically. Oh, if I were in that situation, I would have said a lie like that, or I would have done the same thing too. So you try to find excuses for others' dishonesty, which makes a red flag on your part.
The third red flag when it comes to how you or we act in a relationship, so it's personal responsibility, is you accept control, abuse, manipulation as normal, or like you actually even deserve this. So that's why we talk often in this series the importance of having a strong foundation in the Lord to strengthen our self-worth, our value, our confidence, to know what patterns are dysfunctional so we can identify them. But if you are unaware, we encourage you to watch more episodes to get more familiar with these different aspects. But if you are accepting control, abuse, manipulation, that is a red flag, because we shouldn't accept. We might face it, but we need to make decisions and come out of it or look for help in those situations. The fourth point is you minimize, ignore, or justify serious character flaws or harmful behavior. So we're not talking about, general character weaknesses, but really serious type of behavior that is damaging, even harmful. So if we find ourselves minimizing, excusing those type of behaviors, that is a red flag. Something there we might be missing.
And the last point in these real red flags that we need to evaluate about ourselves is that you fall for charm, flattery, or smooth talk, even when actions don't match the words. And this is why we don't believe and we don't encourage in the part of flourishes talks or just seeing relationship like a game, because there are people who have mastered how to flirt. There are people who know how to smooth talk, but that doesn't mean they hold core values that are high. That doesn't mean they are not using the same smooth talk with other people. It's kind of hard. Right now the world looks at it as a game, as a competition. How can guys especially, how can they smooth talk and attract a girl? How can they make the girl fall in love with the guys? And it is all about talk. It's all about like a skill that you acquire to make the girl be mesmerized about you. But is that how you want to live your life? Think about this in the long run. If the girl or a guy, it goes both ways obviously, if you surrender your life to them in terms of marrying and you want to live with them and they are just smooth talkers and they just know how to flirt, but in reality there is no essence, is that the person you want to live your life with for the rest of your life? Is that the person you want to marry? Not really, because at one point you are going to be like a servant for them just because they knew how to talk, they knew how to deceive people. But where did this all smooth talk stem from? Where did it come from? If you really think about it, it all started in Genesis chapter 3, where Satan was able to smooth talk Eve. He did not go and say, hey, I'm Satan, I'm going to take you in the bad direction and it's going to make you to fall. No, he was a smooth talker. He deceived Eve easily, mainly because it was a way of communication. He said, did God really tell that you're not supposed to eat any fruit? And then it was a very deceptive way of talking and it caused Eve to fall. And many times we are all following those way of communication. So something for you to remember, if you are going to compromise, if you are going to fall for smooth talk, if you're going to fall for abusive or accept abusive behavior and all of that, they might be the ones that are causing it, but also it points out that you have that red flag that you need to work on.
So we should not ignore red flags. We should evaluate them with caution, with prayer. If needed, ask advice from other wise biblically based mentors that can tell us how they perceive it, so we don't think, oh, it's just me seeing a red flag, but maybe others are seeing it as well. So that gives even more weightage to the situation. So we want to leave few key points now regarding red flags in someone else. So we covered red flags in our attitude and our way of processing, that this shows, this is not good, you're not acting correctly, or you're allowing things that are not healthy to be part of your life. So then, how should we see in others? Number one is, red flags are not a one-time situation or mistake, but are patterns that are developed. So patterns is something we do repetitively, and it can become part of our character. It's harder to change. It needs more effort. So here we're not talking about one mistake a person does, because that can be changed and maybe it was just a one-time thing. Certain one-time things can be big as well, and generally they don't just happen, but it's different things that lead to that big mistake, let's call it. But many times it is patterns that are building up and create this red flags. So if we see someone that lied once for something, they can redo it. But if we see a pattern that is like they're lying and telling white lies and kind of being not transparent and dishonest in different levels, that is a pattern, and that is a huge red flag. So we're not minimizing things here to say only look for a pattern, but generally red flags are patterns in a person's life.
And the next point is, discernment isn't judgment, it's protection. As you can see on the screen, there are 4 different points. Please take a screenshot of it or take a picture of this and keep this with you. Anytime you feel like you need to compromise on certain things, remember these points. Number 1, be not naive. Don't be naive with whatever you see. You have to be able to discern what is right and what is wrong. If they are living the life that you see as a value or not, you need to be able to discern that. Number 2, do not ignore and move forward when you see red flags. When you are in that emotion high, in the relationship high, you want to feel like you just ignore it and move forward. And it is not even an intentional way of living. You just feel like you just have to ignore and move forward. And it's almost like an immediate reaction. Oh, it's probably because of this. And then you move forward. Don't do it. You do not feel you've gone too far and cannot change it. Sometimes people that have been in relationship for a year, 2 years, they feel like, I have been in this relationship for more than 2 years and I cannot just leave this person. I have to be with them. Don't do it. Don't do it. As long as you don't feel God is the one leading you and you see more positives to be in the relationship, you don't have to be in the relationship. You don't have to even marry that person just because you've spent 2 years of your life with this person. And point number 4 is, do not feel that you are the only savior of the situation. Debbie and I, we have gone through that, and we are sure several of you have felt that. And it might be a good thing that you need to show Christ, you want to be a help, but remember that you are not the savior, you are not a therapist, you are not a counselor. They have issues, they need to work it separately. You cannot help them out. If you really want to evaluate or analyze it, how many parents are able to really help their children when they do certain things? Because the children see, or even the siblings, they see it's just my sibling, or it is just my parents, or it is just my children. I'm not going to change. That is the attitude. And the same thing will reflect in relationships as well. They are not going to change just because you are trying to reveal Christ to them. They are not going to change it. If you feel or if you notice certain things that they need to change, they need to take that step by themselves. Just because you are saying, it's not going to bring a change in them. So these 4 points, when you notice, there might be many more, But these are some core points that we are sharing it with you. If you see these signs and if you are discerning them, remember, it is not a judgment on them, it is your protection, and just do not fall into the trap.
And I want to kind of go back to the point you were sharing about we're not the savior. If someone needs support, direct them to the right source of support. It's not to be in a relationship as a girlfriend, boyfriend, or close friend, potential boyfriend, girlfriend. That is not the best support, because emotionally you're going to get entangled and it's just going to limit the growth and it's going to pull you down, most probably, instead of the other way around. So direct them to a mentor, to some, if it's a guy, to another guy that can really help and support him in that journey. So we're not saying just leave them, God will help them, but guide them to the right help. It's not being romantically there the one that will bring the solution. Most of the times it just makes the process longer and harder. So the third key point is that attachment trauma can blind you to danger. So when we have anxious, fearful, avoidant type of attachment styles, many times we will not really see the danger and the red flags. That's why in one of the first episodes in this season, we talked about attachment styles and how many times that we were raised or broken relationship experiences that really traumatized us and developed in us fear, anxiety, or avoiding situations can really impact how we then perceive relationships. And we all are able to change. Our attachment style is not our life sentence. We're all able to become more secure. In Christ, Christ is a good, secure attachment friend to help us learn how to deal with a more secure person, and then with others that are also in that journey of healing. So as we become more secure in who we are, then we will be able to see the red flags better. Yes.
And the last point is, if you have to constantly justify it, it's probably a sign. What do we mean by that? If your friends, your families, or even in your own heart, in your own spirit, you feel there is no peace and others are constantly telling there is something off, don't hush them. Listen to them and pause and evaluate if this is something that I am constantly trying to justify. We know some people where one guy is trying to tell lies and trying to make things work out of lies and manipulation and all of that. And then the girl is constantly trying to justify it to her friends and to her family as well. Oh, well, when you are put in that type of situation, you cannot escape and you have to do something. And you know, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. And we start to give excuses. And if you have to constantly justify, if you have to constantly give excuses for the other person, it's probably a sign that they are a red flag. And maybe ask them, why do they do it? Be honest, be open, be very clear that you are seeing these as, or these points as red flags, and what are their thoughts about it. And yeah, be open, be very clear, and don't be emotionally entangled. The moment you emotionally entangle yourself, you miss out on all the judgment, all the logical reasonings, anything that will help you to come out of it, you will lose it. You are just emotionally entangled. And you will listen to this several times. We will say about emotionally entangled in this season because it is a real thing, and we want you to be able to discern what is right and what is wrong, what are red flags and what are green flags. So when you are evaluating, don't try to do it through your emotions, but try to be more cognizant and discern with judgment. If it is hard for you to do it, ask a Bible-based counselor, mentor, a coach, friends, your family, and also try to find a balanced stand for yourself.
That is very foundational to Yes, emotionally we can get entangled some easier than others, but then look for help, look for counsel. And that's why we leave all the challenges and practical tools so you can, in those moments that emotionally you're confused, you can be like, okay, let me go through this question or let me check this point. And
Absolutely.
we need those things to help us. So before we end with a challenge, we also want to give a practical tool. Some mentor shared with me in my early 20s when I was confused emotionally with our relationship. They told me there is a very simple kind of analogy that you can remember, like a traffic light. If it's green light in a relationship, then if it's red light first, let's go with the red light since we're talking about the red flags. If it's red light, what do you do? What should you do? You stop. You don't keep moving forward because that is danger, it's warning. So what does that mean? If you are considering a relationship, don't get into the relationship. If you are in a relationship, don't move forward into the next steps, engagement, marriage, whatever it might be. Stop, pray, ask for counsel, see if that is something that can be worked on. If it's yellow light, what should we do on yellow light? We should slow down, not accelerate more. It's true, many times we do, like if we're driving, we try to, not get the red light, so we accelerate, but technically it is to slow down. It's like, so if you see something that is not fully red in the relationship or the other person, but it's kind of, maybe it could be red, maybe it could be green, it's a yellow light. So then just slow down, pray more, and don't move forward into the next step. When is the time you can freely, confidently move forward? Only in green light. So green light means move forward, again, prayerfully, but move forward. So I was considering this relationship. I wasn't sure if I should really get started. And this counselor said, only if it's green. If there are red and yellow, you should keep praying, wait on the Lord. Those things are not good to move forward at this time. And that it made so much sense. It gave me clarity, and I was able to let go of that. And later on, it really was red at the end. So I was so grateful I followed their advice. And I just love practical tools to help us in those moments that we are confused. So remember the light analogy. Only move forward in the next steps when things are green light. If not, process it. Get mentorship. See if it does become green. And if you're already in a relationship and you thought it was all green and it starts coming red and yellow, then don't move forward more, but work on those things first.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, at this point, I would like to share something. If you go to naturalhealingproject.com, you will find a resource for this. If you want to evaluate how strong your relationship is, go to that website. If you just scroll down a little bit, you will find Relationship Strength Quiz. And there are 25 questions. Just answer those questions, and at the end you will see how strong your relationship is and what you can do in your relationship. You will have a better understanding. And now we will check out the challenge for don't miss the red flags. And the challenge name is Red Flag Reflection. The first one is make a list of behaviors you've excused in past relationships. Now, point 2 is ask yourself, would I want my future child to accept this? It's basically making you to think, if you have a son or a daughter, right? And the list that you have written down, and from the first one, the behaviors you have excused in the past relationships, would you be okay if your child, your son or your daughter, marries the person that shows the same type of behaviors that you have excused? If you don't want them to marry, then you're not going to marry them either, right? Because obviously we have the genes that will pass on to our children, and if you excuse those behavior patterns, it is going to come through the children as well, and they might be accepting those type of behaviors. So remember, this is a warning for you. Don't miss the red flags if you see them, but be more discerning. I'm Martin, this is my wife Debbie. This is God's Principles for Healthy Relationships Season 2. We will see you in another episode. God bless.